what's up guys? This is me again, Takemi. So for this video, instead of starting with the discussing the use cases and features for the custom property management rental software that we will be developing based from what I've said from the previous video, I will instead start with discussing the workflow or the property rentals flow for the project just so that we can visualize what things or what are the processes that are happening from start to finish within a certain let's say context within the rentals domain. So to start, we will start with the inquiry to leasing high level overview. So for this workflow here, we can see that we have three actors, which is the prospect or the tenant, the property manager, and then the bank or payment gateway. So for this workflow here, we have three actors. So to start with, the tenant basically will fill up the inquiry form from the listing website for the property that he or she is interested in renting. And then the next step would be the property manager respond to the prospect of inquiry and then sends the virtual link tour and in-person scheduling link. And then the tenant schedules a on-site visit with the property manager and views the virtual tour, just so the tenant or prospect will be able to have a um idea of what the advertised property looks like, or like to set the expectations for the property. And then we have here a condition that if the prospect does not want to rent, then there's no other process to be invoked. But if the tenant wants to rent, then the tenant or prospect contacts the broker to express the interest to rent the property. And then the next is the broker prepares the lease contract and asks for the requirements. And then the broker sends the prospect the lease contract. And then the tenant reviews and signs the lease contract and then sends back the contract with the requirements to the broker or the property manager. And then the broker then encodes the tenant information within the PMS, which is the project that we will be building. And then the tenant sends the payment also. And then the bank or payment gateway processes the payment. And then, yeah, that's the end of the process or workflow for the inquiry to leasing. And second is and then the second process or workflow would be the recurring lease billing. So for this process here, we have four actors or entities involved, which is the PMS or the property management software, and then the tenant, and then the bank or the payment gateway, and then the broker or property manager. So for this workflow here, things will start in the property management software. So basically here. So basically, system will check if there are upcoming lease billings, and if the system does not found by any, so the process or like the workflow stops. And if the PMS finds upcoming list billings, then the system will generate a list billing and send it to the tenant. This one here. And then the tenant receives and pays the bill. And then the bank processes the payment. And then the tenant sends a proof of payment to the broker or the property manager. And then the broker records the proof of payment. And then that's the end. Okay. So this is the workflow for the recurring lease billing. And the other one is like for the lease renewal. So for the lease renewal workflow, so we have three actors or entities, which are the PMS or the property management software, the tenant, and then the broker. So the workflow starts with the property management software. So the system will check if there are upcoming expiring leases, And if no, so the process ends there. But if yes, the system will send the tenants a notification via text or by email if they will renew their lease. So if the tenant does not want to renew their lease, so basically the broker will send out a move out document to the tenant, and then the broker updates the tenant status in the PMS. But if the tenant wants to renew the lease, like this one here, so what will be happening is the broker will send the lease renewal documents to the tenant, and then the tenant receives it and signs it and sends back the signed renewal list to the broker, and then the broker will update the tenant status in the PMS. And yeah, that's it for the lease renewal. And then last but not the least, for the workflow for the tenant maintenance request. So basically for this workflow here, we do have four entities or actors, which is the tenant, the PMS or property management software, the property manager, and then the utility slash maintenance staff. So to start this process, so basically the tenant will file a repair or maintenance request, and then the PMS will be processing or saving that request within the database, and then the property manager will be informed about the request, and then assigns a utility or maintenance staff for that specific request, and then the maintenance staff will receive a notification for the repair or maintenance request, and then it verifies the maintenance request and then works on the maintenance request, basically like doing the nitty-gritty repairs, and basically like I'm generating like the job orders and things like that. And then after that, the property management software will update the maintenance status. And then last but not the least, tenant receives the maintenance request notification whether the maintenance request that he or she requested is already finished or still ongoing. So yeah, that's it for the workflow for the tenant slash maintenance requests. So for the next video, I will be discussing or showing you the features or the use cases that we will be implementing for the upcoming series of the platform. So I hope that you've learned something from this video, and thank you for watching and stay tuned.